No, they have. Hey everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Angie Hunt at LDRS Creative. We are in studio tonight. Super excited to be here at Cobblestone Creek. We were invited by the amazing Leslie, the owner of Cobblestone Creek, to do some crafting with you guys. And she put a kit together, and we're going to be showing off some of our products. And we're each going to be crafting side by side, and we're going to be showing like what you can do with this, like two different ways you can use the same products, if that makes any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in because I'm sure she can better explain all of that if I can find her again. Where'd she go?
I
Oh,
promise I'm here. I'm here.
where is she? Goodness gracious. Oh, here we go.
There I am. I was like,
There
I
she
promise I'm
is.
here.
I'm like, I
I
can't
didn't go
find
anywhere.
her. So welcome, welcome, welcome. You should be welcoming me. That's what
Oh, well,
I'm
I
doing.
think that the welcomes are probably mutual. It's been a few months since we've seen each other in person, but it's always fun to craft together, whether
Yes.
online or in person.
It does, and it feels kind of weird because I like, we set up the whole stream and I like launched the thing, so I feel like you've come into my studio and I'm actually coming into yours. So I feel like
Well,
it's kind of like weird, but that's why I'm like, welcome, welcome. But I don't know, whatever. I'm
eventually
a
I'll make it
goofball.
into your studio in person, eventually.
That would be awesome. Actually, that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, so we are here today. You want to tell everybody what we're doing?
Yeah, well, I reached out to Angie. Of course, we carry a lot of your products. We have the complete full, well, not anymore, but we had the complete full release, the last release from over the summer. And I reached out to you and I said, man, my ladies in studio and some that are shopping with me virtually, they love your products and I'd love to feature them. Obviously, I know you and I have an update on an in-person class soon with
Hmm.
us here at my store, but I was like, of course, we got to do something before that. So Angie and I did a little brainstorming and I said, okay, I have the perfect idea. Let's take one stamp and of course, lots of supporting stamps to go with it because you have amazing stamps and dies that we have to just throw in there.
Thank
But
you.
let's take two different takes on it. And you came up with a great idea and said, well, how about we do fall and winter? And I said, that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So we came up with the concept that I would use, let's see here, let me find my actual stamp set.
Mhm.
We're going to be featuring the Timeless Meadow,
Yes.
which is
The gorgeous
gorgeous,
Timeless Meadow. It is.
absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And of course, you do your lives weekly. And of course, I watched you create, let me see if I can find it, this absolutely beautiful
Mm,
card.
thank you.
Stunning. And I
Yes,
thought,
but for
well,
Halloween, it's a
but
purple version
Halloween,
for Halloween. Yeah.
right? So we said, of course, we're almost into fall, so we need fall at the time when we were
Hmm.
brainstorming. So you're going to do your take
Hmm.
on fall colors. And then at the same time, I'm going to do my take with winter colors. So we had that idea of, let's take this amazing stamp set, but then you have so many other amazing stamps that we needed to pull in. So
Yeah.
and I will be honest, my ladies have shopped like crazy. So I only have what's left of my version of what I'm using. So I don't even have your stamps that you're going to be using, but
No,
I'm going to
that's okay.
feature,
I've got them here.
thank goodness,
I
we're going to
got them.
feature all
Yeah.
of the collage stamps,
Hmm.
our most favorite and restocked
Yes.
item, the Texturize It. And
Excuse
then
me.
so excited to have Postage. So I'm doing Christmas,
Yeah.
you're doing every day.
Yes.
And we're gonna see how that works. Smash up all those items, and then I don't have them in perfect condition right now,
Hmm.
but we also are taking some genius dies. Absolutely genius.
Somebody came up with a really great idea for those.
Well, I will say, I mean, I don't want to. I did just
You can
request.
go
It was
ahead. You
just a
can
request.
brag. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I requested a
Yes.
rectangle just
Well, you
once, and that
you
was
requested. Well, you. I don't remember you saying rectangle. I remember you saying, and what do you call it? The deckled edge. I
It
remember
was
you
like a deckled
asking
edge.
me. Yeah,
And
which
I just
in all
said, can I
honesty, I
have
had not.
something?
Well, and I had not. You're not going to believe this. I've been crafting a long, long time, and I was not familiar with the term deckled edge. And I remember saying, "What in the world is that?" But yeah,
Yes.
these are a result of that conversation that you and I had, and they've turned out to be they're a new staple die set, if you will, for us. We have it in four shapes, and we just keep restocking it because we can't keep them in stock. They're just amazing. So thank you
Well, and
for
I
that
have to say thank
suggestion.
you to my customers because my customers were actually the ones that asked me, do I know any
Mhm.
brand in the industry that makes this type of dye? And I said, not really, but I know who to ask. If anyone is
Oh,
willing at all to take a suggestion,
mhm.
it would be you guys.
Well,
And
thank
you
you.
took it and then soared. And now we have a lot of them.
Yes. Yes, and we've even got some, if you will, add-ons that are going to be coming to those just a little
Yes.
bit later, coming soon. But I want to welcome everybody. We've got a good selection of people coming in already. Some of these people I'm familiar with already. I recognize some names. I see Corrine is here. Regan Zick is here. Kelly Welch. Welcome to Lori. I always say Lewicki. I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm so sorry if I'm slaughtering your name. Debbie Blanchard, hello, from North Carolina. Colleen Howell, Beth Bishop, I think it says. Some of the names are going off the screen, but it's so nice to see so many people coming in. So thank you so much for joining us. And some people have already got the kit, right? Because you put a kit
Yes.
together. Oh, here's Cassie.
They
So yeah, go
They
ahead.
should have the kit. And we have several ladies, of course, here locally that picked it up. But I will
Mhm.
tell you, I have shipped quite a few of them, which is so
Wonderful.
exciting for people that are not even here locally to be crafting with us tonight, which is really cool.
Yeah, so this really is a true craft along. You and I are going to be crafting together, and for those of you that got your kits already from Cobblestone Creek, you can be crafting along with us. And what about people that didn't get a kit yet from you?
If you did not get a kit, it is listed on my website. It literally, you're just going to type in LDRS Craft Along. I think it's Timeless Meadow. We still have plenty of stock to make you more because I am the kit maker. So you'll get this little printout. Oops, sorry. Little printout here. That way you know exactly what colors of inks, the hybrid inks. We are featuring all of the LDRS hybrid inks. I'm going to be using Olo alcohol markers. You're using Copics, but
Hmm.
we've listed those all out. So if you want to use the same colors, great. If you want to do your own take, we can't wait to see that as well. That's super exciting. But absolutely, still plenty of stock on hand to order a kit from our website.
Awesome. Well, and that is one thing I'll say about this too. So you showed three card samples, one of them in purple, yours is in blue,
Mm-hmm.
mine is in red and gold. And that's really the really wonderful thing about the Timeless Meadow is it really is for all year long. You can turn these into like this one here, right here, you can turn that into a poinsettia. So you can just by coloring it red, you can turn these into any color combination that you want for any season. So it really is versatile. It is part of our Stack and Collage. Our Stack and Collage product line is quite large, and we just keep adding to it. So a lot of the things that we're going to be using, the Stack and Collage as well as the Postage, um, everything in these across the product line, they're all designed so they're similar sizes, variety of fonts and things like that. So you can really mix and match. This is one of those things that's like a compendium of of products that can all be used individually, but can all be mixed and matched for just about any occasion or anything that you want to do throughout the year, any season or anything. So with that being said, how about you want to get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to swap these cameras around, so give me a moment. This is I can't see. I'm not going to put my glasses on for y'all either. Okay, so give me just a second. We're going to switch your camera here. And then Alan, if you will do me a favor, please, and go overhead. And where are my glasses? I don't have my
Oh.
glasses. Go to two. Okay, and I'm going to explain what I've got going on here because I don't need my glasses for this portion of it. So How about I go ahead and I'll explain what I've got to work with, and then you can go through yours. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Okay. So of course the feature is the Timeless Meadow. So we both have this. You can see mine is well loved. And because I'm going to be doing fall colors, I decided to work with the Giving Thanks. This is a stacking collage. You can see it on the back a little bit better here. I also pulled in some of our all occasions postage collage stamps, which are so fun. This will take you all the way into Valentine's Day, and I mean, really all occasions. So we have love in here, hugs and kisses, thank yous, just hugs, special delivery, hellos. Really great. And then the all-time favorite is the Texturize It. So we're going to be bringing some of that in, and I will tell you, for those of you that love this so much, we do have we've got another one of these in the hopper that's going to be coming out early next year. So because everybody's asking for more of those, so we do have another one planned. um, I'm going to be working with the hand torn arches, and then I've also pulled in our standard arches, which nest beautifully into the hand torn, so that you'll still see that beautiful hand torn edge around it. And then I'm not going to go through, every single color that I have in here of my Copics, but very quickly, when you're pulling out your markers, what I would suggest if you want to do the color scheme I'm doing is just a variety of green, and these are kind of olive-ish colors. And then I have some kind of buttery yellows into, let's see, my mess of hands here. Buttery yellows into kind of golden yellows. I will give you the numbers as I go, but I also have a brown. This happens to be E53, and then just some kind of a red. And the reason I have so many markers is I kind of like to go from like light to dark. So that's what it is. I'll have like 3 or 4 graduation of color, light to dark, and I do that with each of those color schemes. So that's what that's all about. And then, and I'm not necessarily, you don't have to use the exact same numbers, so don't worry if you don't have the exact same ones that I have. And then for inks, I've pulled in 2 greens. So I've got key lime pie and olive branch. I gave you a list of all this, right? So that's on the sheet that they
Yes,
get, right?
it
And then I've
is.
got,
It's on the sheet.
okay, perfect. Soft Kisses and Scarlet Rose. So again, you can see, 2 of each color because I like a light and a dark or a light and a medium. And then here, instead of going with 2 yellows, I did a golden, which is our dandelion, and then In Your Face orange. So I went, and you'll notice too, these coordinate with the marker colors that I chose, right? So here's that brown to coordinate with the brown. Here's a darker brown. So this one is iced tea. This one is coffee bean. And then, of course, I have to have a raven. So you will see that the ink colors that I pulled also coordinate with the marker colors that I've pulled. Alrighty? So that's my list of stuffs.
Okay, so then for my version, we, of course, again, using Timeless Meadow, but my take with more of the cool blues. So we will be featuring that one as well. We are, let's see here, these are out of order. So for my collage stamping set, we are going to be working with the Baby It's Cold Outside, which is going to be all of those cooler tones, cooler weather, sentiments and images, featuring the little wintry, which I absolutely love this sentiment right here. And then, of course, bringing in the Christmas postage collage. Now, my card is definitely a lot more on the winter, not specifically Christmas, but still some really great, simple images that can be used that don't have to be Christmas. So that's a really great set to have on hand. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Angie, the Texturize It. It's a staple. It is probably one of my most items that I reach for the quickest when I'm looking for a texture. So this one is just absolutely perfect. And then we are going to be doing, for my card, we're going to be working with the hand-torn circles, which really, and you and I both mentioned it kind of at the same time when we were talking about it. It's perfect for like that idea of like a snowflake, more of that
Mm-hmm.
round kind of pulled in image there. So if you got a kit, I went ahead and cut everything for you. So you kind of got a sampling of all the hand-torn dies, so that you could decide which one you want, which of course I would choose all. But for my card, I did cut just a basic circle if maybe you were more comfortable with stamping, but tonight I'm going to be using the hand-torn version.
Yeah, that edge is just they're just so pretty. And here's something I want to point out too with all of them. With all of our hand torn dies, no two edge is the same on any of them. So um, you're going to find that like the outermost one here has a completely different edge than the one that's next to it, and so on and so forth. And we did that so that they don't look uniform when you stack them up. We wanted them to look truly hand torn, and obviously when you tear paper, it's never going to be the same each time you do it. So I've got all my stuff here. What do I have to grab? The first thing, shall we get started?
Ready to go.
Okay. So the first thing I'm going to get started with, and I'm going to try, I'm hoping we didn't zoom in too far here. I think once I get to the coloring, it's going to be, it'll be really good that we did zoom in where we did. I am going to move this up. The first thing that I like to do is stamp my biggest images, and I'm going to do this in the Raven. Ah, okay.
And I totally forgot to mention my colors of your hybrid ink. So I
Oh, go
guess
ahead.
we're starting. I'm so sorry. I totally forgot. But we're going to be using Raven. And then, of course, the perfect pairing for Raven, if you are collaging, is that alloy. Love that gray. And then we're not using quite as many colors just because my surface space is quite a bit smaller on my card than yours. But of course, gorgeous green. We're using olive branch, and then we're going to be doing stamping with the dark west jeans, and then doing second generation stamping to kind of calm those colors down a little bit for
Mm-hmm.
a lighter tone.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Now, something I want to tell everybody too, you've got several different flowers in here. You can mix these up however you want. We have little accessory flowers in here. There's extra little leaves and little bugs and just all kinds of little fillers, if you will. I actually use them to kind of create texture and background on my card. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of line this up off of the card a bit. I do like to kind of figure out what my, excuse me, like what my starting point is going to be. And for me, it was this one flower here that, they're not really any particular kind of flower, so I don't even know what to call it.
Beautiful. We'll call
Beautiful,
it
yes,
beautiful.
it's a beautiful flower. I do like to kind of stamp off of the page too, so it goes right off of the edge. And I do that so that it looks like we've kind of cut into a beautiful like field of flowers. Like we're just getting like a little snippet. So here we go. I'm going to do this one more time. There we go. And then of course I got my extreme clean on hand to get everything cleaned up.
I will say that the extreme clean behind just basically your products is probably one of my number one selling items in the store. So
Really? That's
love it.
awesome.
It is.
It is
We
really good
suggest it
stuff.
for everyone. If you're
Okay.
cleaning, then yes, you need it.
Okay, so I'm going to bring another one in here, kind of off the edge. You know what? I'm going to switch to my larger because I'm finding out that I'm running into the edge here, and that's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to switch to my bigger um, platform, or whatever you call this, stamping platform thing, thingamajig.
You got a
The
lot of
technical
surface space
term.
on that arch. You got a lot of space to fill.
Well, I just want to make sure that I can fit these in the way that I want them to go. And so I'm not going to put them so tight together because I do want to have some space for some filler. Let's see. But I want to leave a little bit of room, of course, too. So let's see. I think I'll put it there. Ankle it in a little bit. It's not going to be exactly like the original one that I did. They're going to be, because I don't have it here. And I am
No,
kind
you
of
were
creating this
very
one from
gracious
scratch.
to send that over to me, and my ladies are loving it. So I
Oh,
appreciate
well, good.
sending that sample over.
All right, that one looks great. And because I'm going to be coloring this in too, if I don't stamp it perfectly, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to be pretty heavy-handed with my coloring. And now I'm going to bring this one in. Let me just make sure I get all moisture off of this. Let me move this back into the camera. I'm going to bring this one in right down here. All right. So the idea is I'm going to have the flowers kind of come around the bottom here, and I'm going to have a sentiment up here. Now, if you're not stamping yours in exactly the same spot as me, that's perfectly fine. You can do whatever arrangement you want. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of an overlap over there. It's all going to look beautiful when we're done. So let me give that a quick clean. So at this point, I'm going to start coloring. This is when I start coloring. I don't get everything inked and laid out first. I like to get my main color down on the card. And then when I start to layer in the other pieces, or the other stamps, if you will, that kind of fills in the space for me. So I'm going to grab my markers, and I'm going to start with this big flower right here. And I'm going to grab my reds. So did I give you my Copic colors? I don't know if I did.
You did, and I did
Okay.
list them out
Okay, good.
on the sheet for those, but I'll pull it into camera just real quick in case anyone wants to take a screenshot if they weren't able to pick up a kit yet. So I'll come over here. This is Angie's colors. And then for my Olos, these are my colors.
So I tend to color light to dark. I know a lot of people like to go dark to light. I don't think that there's any one, main way of doing it. It's really whatever your preference is. You will notice too, as I do this, I go out of the lines quite a bit. I don't worry about it. I just kind of cover it up. I don't color to try and make everything perfect and real. You'll see me doing little scribbles and stuff. So I'm going to start kind of filling in. This is the way I color these. I like to color starting from the centers. Um, and I'm going to leave a little bit of like light or white in the center there. So I come in from the middle, pull out to the end. Pay attention to like this little flap here. This one actually is like a little fold. And then I just kind of scribble it in and leave those highlights. Those are going to become my highlights. I don't know if you want me to talk about the coloring or not. I tend to talk
Well,
about it as I do it.
considering that you are one that is, I shouldn't say I don't like to color. It's not something that I am normally keen on doing a lot because you have really amazing stencils. So, but I definitely took your advice when you said let's do something that we wouldn't normally do, and you said go for it, and I said all right. So, talking about coloring would definitely be coming from you, not from me.
Okay. So when I did this, I wanted to have a sprinkle of color around and a balance of color. So even though these are different flowers over here and over here from the one in the center, I did choose to make some of these little buds here red so that it just looked like they were just kind of a mix of flowers. And even though they're on different stamps, I think when you're dealing with a field of wildflowers, you really don't know exactly, especially since I cut off the the ends of these, or didn't stamp the ends. You can't really tell if they're part of, if they're this flower or this flower. So I wanted,
Right.
the whole point was really to have a balance of color. So that's why I brought some red out to the edges instead of just having red in the middle and gold on the ends. So for me, it's all about balance. And that's really a part of like the whole concept of the stack and collage is balancing color um, and all around your page and your card. And we'll talk about that as I get into like the next phase of it. So now I'm just going to kind of scribble again in here. And yeah, it looks like I'm going right over the exact same areas that I went with the first color. But it really is about layering color. And again, I don't worry about being perfect. If I go out of the lines, I really don't even care. It doesn't matter. Especially since these I've kind of colored dramatic, meaning with like darker color. So I can actually just kind of extend even with a marker or something and kind of pull it in and make it look like the image goes a little bit farther than it actually does. I also don't take it too seriously. So I don't worry about it being perfect. Now with these little buds, I'm just kind of pushing color up from the bottom and and then bringing like wherever you think those little edges, like where they come together, bringing a little bit of line and color up to those points as well. I'm gonna
I
look and
also
see if
think
there's, go ahead.
your flowers really lend well to having that, as you said, like the not perfect look.
Hmm.
Your illustrations are so, they just look like they're literally hand drawn each time. So when, I think if you were to make it look perfect or try to, at least if in your coloring, it would take away from that beautiful illustration a little bit.
Yeah, I think
But
that's a
that's just
really
my
good
own.
point. No, I think you're exactly right. The illustrations that we do are very loose. They're not meant to look like we're trying to make them be real flowers. I like them to be kind of loose and whimsical and wispy. Um, and I think it does lend itself to imperfection, which I think is just, it's, I don't really know how to explain it, but I think that's just a beautiful thing. And it makes it, I think, much easier to color too and not to worry so much about it.
Exactly.
So I've just gone up one more color and I'm literally just kind of bringing in this little bit of a darker color up and around in some of those same areas. And you can see how it kind of starts to develop a bit. And one of the things you can pay attention to also is like where the lines are that we're giving you and kind of saying, with these lines, this is kind of the shape. Follow along with the curve of those lines that we give you, because that's the shape of the flower, the way that it's bending. And if you make your lines go in that same direction, you can't go wrong. Whenever you have like petals coming next to each other too, that's generally going to be a place where you're going to have some sort of a shadow. So from here, I've done three colors, like a light, medium, and a dark. Now I'm going to go back to my R32, which was my light one, and I don't want to have these white highlights. Instead, I'm going to pull my R32 over those and just kind of color those in very gently. and it's going to create, it's going to kind of soften those so that they're not so white, and it ends up making it look like a highlight. And I'm going to do that on each of these, just a tiny little bit. And I do tend to push up and away from the darkest color so that I'm not. The one thing about alcohol markers is if I were to pull from the light into the dark, it's going to actually lighten the dark, and I don't want to do that. So you want to pull from the dark out toward the light, because it will move the color. One thing to keep in mind too when you're working with an alcohol marker is the paper that you're actually coloring on. Um, what I'm using is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, 110-pound cardstock. It's wonderful with alcohol markers. I'm not sure what you're using. Yours looks beautiful, by the way.
We're using, if you got the kit and myself, we're using Accent Opaque 120.
Okay.
So still a really great, it takes the color really well, like you're saying, the same as the Neenah, and doesn't doesn't really bleed, which some
Hmm.
cardstocks definitely can make you feel frustrated with your coloring when you're really not doing anything wrong. It's just the cardstock. So
Right. Yeah, and one thing to keep in mind too, a lot of people, ask the question about, does the cardstock matter? And yes, it does. Your cardstock is one of your tools. It is worth the investment. It will make all the difference with your coloring. And a good paper for coloring, whether it's coloring or watercoloring or whatever your technique is, I wouldn't say it's better the more expensive it is, but I will say that usually the least expensive is not going to be the best for your technique, if that makes any sense. So it's going to probably be somewhere in the middle there. It doesn't always have to be the most expensive. The quality is most
right.
important. Um, but you will find that the best quality is probably, not the best quality, but having a really good quality is going to have a price tag, because it has a good quality for a reason.
Well, and I think that's important. We invest in our staple items, our stamps, our inks, our dyes, all of those essential items. And I think cardstock should be honestly at the top of that list. It's
Hmm.
our main surface. That's what we're working with. So I think that that's important to, I try to be really transparent with my ladies that come in and ask me questions about, the paper. Of course, we all have our own personal preferences,
Hmm.
but if you're going to invest in good quality products to make cards, then your paper should definitely be one of them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. You want something that's going to last. You want something that's going to be, durable, and that's something that's going to present your projects really well too, because we spend a lot of time and effort on them. They should be
We
beautiful.
do. We do. We spend a lot of time, and the worst thing would be to then, you know, put our image on this little kind of sloppy piece of like copy paper. I've had people ask me, "Well, is copy paper okay?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess it's okay, but I mean, it's
Right,
not."
right. No, and it's probably not going to show very well, and it's not going to last very long.
Well, especially when we are using, markers that we've invested in. That is
Right.
definitely, you've invested in those. So invest in your supplies that are going to work with it.
So I'm going in here just because with my darkest color again, just to strengthen some of those dark areas, just to deepen those a little bit, just to kind of show them off a little more. I'd like there to be a little bit of drama with the color.
Exactly.
Um, yes. Okay, so I'm done with that red. I'm going to set those aside. Now I'm going to move on to the yellows. And then I've also got that kind of, it's almost like a light caramel color. So Regan is saying, do both of these cardstocks help with how fast you need to color to enable blending as the alcohol evaporates? To be honest with you, I don't have trouble with that. I think, again, I think if you have the right paper, if you have a good paper that is, that is either made for, designed for work with alcohol markers, or has, even if it's not made for it, like I don't think the one that I'm using is made for it, but it's just kind of, tried and true. It's tested over and over and does really well. So that's going to make a difference. Um, I can come back to these colors even when I'm done with the yellows and still have, be able to work with the red a little bit. There is going to be a point of, you know, diminishing returns on that, but again, the paper does make all the difference. Just like with watercolor, there's a point where even with the best watercolor paper, you're not going to be able to come back and move that paint around. Um, I'm not sure if that was a long way around the answer to the question or not. But
Well,
again, I
I
think
think
the
that's
paper does make a difference.
an important thing, like you're talking about the paper making a difference. I also think too, obviously, it's 100% a personal preference too. Of course, um, any company that makes the paper, like the people that make the paper I'm using, they're going to say their paper's the best, of course, and the same with Nina. So I think that also makes a huge difference. I
Hmm.
use what works for me.
Right.
So
Now, what kind of paper did you say you had again?
So I'm using Accent Opaque and it is 120 pound, but it definitely has a really high GSM.
Okay.
I want to say it's close to like 320. I mean, it's a sturdy paper.
Nice. Well, I'll tell you, very early on, I actually, when I started with Copics, um, there was a different paper that I used to color on. But then when Copic came out with their Copic, their paper, I bought it and I hated it. It
Well,
just
and
it just
yeah,
the markers, the ink didn't move on the paper like I was used to it moving, if that makes
right.
sense.
No, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense. Of course, here at my store, I have a small space, so we only carry Olos. That's the only marker that we carry right now. And of course, they have a paper that they sell, and we do carry it here, but they're going to say that's the best paper. But, you know, again, I use what works for me, not what
Yeah.
a brand is telling me has to be used.
Well, yeah, and that was really my point, I think, with the Copic paper. I'm not saying it's a bad paper. That's why I said I hated it. I didn't like it because the ink didn't move like I was used to. So I'm used to, having a certain amount of, movement with the ink as I put it down. And if I'm not getting that with the paper that I'm using, I'm not going to use that paper. Just because it's what I'm used to and it's what I like. So yeah,
Right.
the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, um, and you will develop some favorites. So I'm just kind of doing the same thing I did with the red. I'm going up in color with the yellows. I'm kind of getting into this really pretty kind of gold right now. And with each color that I apply, you can see I don't spend a whole lot of time doing this. I do it very quickly. With each color, I apply less and less as I go up in intensity with the color. Okay, so now I'm going to get into kind of that orangey look here with this Y39 or 38. I'm going to pull some of that in. And then with these, I actually had a little bit of fun. I used to do a lot of coloring where I was coloring like people, little characters and animals and stuff. And I used to like to make everything look really old. And so I would always come in with like browns and grays and stuff to age things. And so that's what I ended up doing with this. So I'm going to go over these white areas with my lightest yellow, just very, very gently, and I'm pulling from the darker area over into that white space that I left. And if you notice, I'm turning my image. It keeps going round and round and round in circles. Turn your image, don't turn your hand. If you're reaching your arm around like this to color, it's not going to be very comfortable.
No, and
So
it's not natural.
no, it's not. It's not. So I'm going to come in with this brown here, just a tiny little bit in some of the darker areas here, and it's just going to give me these beautiful, rich details that are very small but very significant. See how that just kind of makes those tips a little bit darker? I think it's so pretty. Almost gives it a little bit of age to it, a little bit of depth. And dot some of that around. And it's literally just with the very tip of the marker. And then you can see how much different just that little bit made. It just kind of makes it go poof. Sandy's here. Sandy Kohlendorfer just popped in. Hi, Sandy. Alrighty, so let's see. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. It's the same flower. I'm starting light to dark. Now, some people like to go dark to light. There's nothing wrong with that. It's whatever your preference is. When I first learned to color with the Copics, I actually took a Copic class with the company, and can't remember the name of the instructors. Whatever, she was one of their like top people. She was fantastic, and she taught us to color light to dark. Um, but again, it's a preference. I don't think it's the right way. I just think it's the way that works for me. All right, so let's go to my next one.
I'm always intrigued watching you because I color dark to light, like you
Mm-hmm.
learned. But I love watching you color because I would love to learn to be able to do both because I think it's cool to watch the colors just like basically almost like melt into your paper from light to dark. It's mine, obviously. My darkest blue is there immediately, but I love watching your cards as you
Oh,
like
thank
bring the
you.
color, and it's so fun.
Well, I feel like it gives me, for me anyway, it gives me more control over the intensity of the color. And I find that I have to go back in with color less frequently. It's easier for me to blend my color together when I go light to dark, but again, it's just the way that I've always done it. So that's why I'm more comfortable with it. I remember when I was taking my class and they have you like looking at the back of your paper to make sure you get the same, you know, amount of ink, and I'm like, who cares?
Oh my goodness. See, that would just stress me out. I would be like, do I have the right amount of ink? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
well, it was more about like an even distribution of each color. Like, when you look through, like they go, see, you don't have an even distribution. You have more here. Who cares? That's
Oh my
because of
God.
how I'm putting the ink down. What matters is how it looks in the front, right? When I'm looking at the image.
Absolutely. That's why you glue it down and adhere it to your card base.
Yes,
It doesn't
that's why
matter.
this is the front and that's the back.
Right? Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I never, well, now I'm curious. I'm gonna have to turn mine over. I'm a little, let's see. Oh, that's not too bad. I guess somewhat
Yeah,
even.
it really doesn't matter.
I don't care. It's
You
gonna
can
be
tell
exactly what it
who's laying
is.
down. No, but you can tell when you look at the back of mine versus the back of yours, you can see who's laying down more ink.
Oh, well,
It's not
that's all
bad.
right.
I'm
They're
just
both gonna
saying.
be beautiful.
Yeah, no, you tend to use more ink than I do. That's all.
I'm gonna
I
get there.
literally
You
scribble. When I do this,
well,
I'm
and I
just
think
scribbling with the tip of my marker.
you've probably been coloring a little bit longer than I have because the coloring is a little intimidating to me, not gonna lie.
No, it looks beautiful though. It really does.
Well, I think it's pretty easy, in my opinion, to make these flowers look beautiful because the majority of the work is done. We're just shading. We're just adding a little bit of blush to it.
There you go.
You did all
Okay,
the
so
hard work.
here,
We're just adding a little bit of accent.
all right, let's just get some little dotted in color here. Little scribbles of little bits. I literally am just kind of like grazing over the paper very gently with the tip of this marker. And then it just makes such a big difference, I think. It's so, so pretty. Okay, so now we're gonna go to these gorgeous greens. So before I start with the greens, I'm going to grab my, I'm going to use a black now to stamp. Everything else I'm going to stamp now is going to be with the black, except for, I think for two of the sentiments. I think everything else is going to be a black. So I'm going to grab my Raven ink and I'm going to put in, like right now, I'm only going to have some leaves right here, which aren't as many as I want. So I want to fill in with some more leaves. I think it's just really pretty to have more in there. And let me see, what am I going to add in? Let's do this one. Because if I'm only going to have green here, it's not really going to be enough. So I'm not going to worry that I'm stamping right on um, my glass mat either. So just put a little leaf there. And I don't know what I did on my other one before, so I'm just going to put one here. Let's see. I think I'm going to add one here. There we go. So that'll just give me a little more green. And the glass mat I can clean up really easily. There we go. Now I'm going to give that a moment to dry and I'm going to continue coloring. I do want to come into this center here and I'm going to do one of my kind of golden colors here. And I'm going to go right over the whole center with that, and it'll just kind of make that pop a little bit. I think I might go a little bit darker with the orange back in here and just kind of dot that in a bit, just to deepen that. You're gonna love this one. I'm actually gonna come in with a Copic multi-liner and just dot that in. This is just a little black marker just to make it darker because I don't think I inked it very well in the center. So this is a cheat. If ever you're wondering, Copic multi-liners, it's just a thin, very fine little marker, just to make that a tiny bit darker.
Can't be too big of a cheat. If they manufacture it, it cannot be too big of a cheat.
It's there for a reason, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so I'm going to start. with the green on my leaves, and I'm going to go kind of light. This is my YG 23, and I'm literally just going to kind of bring my color in very similarly to how I did everything else. On these little leaves. Now this one we're going to go right into up over that yellow, but because it's going to be darker, you're not even going to know. And we'll go up underneath here. So that's just kind of like a base color. And then I'm going to go up one more color. There we go. Leaving little white areas so that they can be kind of my little highlights. Now this one I'm going to get dark up in the top here just to kind of cover up what I've got there where I've gone over that flower a little bit. But we are going to get darker yet. All right. So with each one, I do a little bit less. And just with the tip of the marker. There we go. And now we'll come down the side here. Or I tend to get quiet when I have to be really careful.
That's okay. I warned you ahead of time that I would probably be very focused on trying to get my colors right. I
Now
have to
I'm going to
say
go.
too, a lot of times I don't get a craft with someone else live, so I
Oh.
don't usually have anyone to talk to.
So now I'm just going to come in and fill with my lightest green. Well, we should do this more often because I think it's really fun. I don't get to craft with anybody usually either.
Right? Well, I think you and I just had a conversation. We haven't set any specific dates yet, but you do have some new stuff coming out that maybe we can make that work,
You are correct, young lady.
which I'm so excited about.
Yes, we have our new collection is coming up very, 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 very soon. And
And I
yes, we
will
were talking about doing a live.
I will say after we got off the phone earlier today, I immediately started looking at which products I think a live would be fun to do with, and
All right.
I have not even narrowed it down to half.
Well, shall we ask who wants to see us do a live with the new with some projects and maybe a kit and stuff with the new collection? Anybody out
Absolutely.
there? Give us a thumbs up, give us a yay, give us something. Are you still
Right?
there? Hello?
And they have to be still there because I have a crop going on in my store about 20 feet away, and I have ladies watching right now that have a kit, so I know.
There we go. Okay, so I'm going to do one last little blend. We're getting a couple of people saying yes. Of course, people are probably crafting, right? Let's hope.
They might be as focused as us.
Now I'm just putting some of that medium green back in just to give it a little brightness. Yep, we got some yeses out there now. There we go. Definitely. Reagan says definitely want to see it. Okay. Thumbs up from Lori. Corrine is a big yes. Joy says yes. More fun. Carol is a yes on a kit. Oh, thank you, Beth. Okay, so from here, now we're going to start. I'm going to do two things with my, what is it called? Stamping platform. We're going to do the large sentiment from here. And that is then going to show me or tell me how much space I have for other things. Okay. So right now, I mean, if you could leave it here and I could put a sentiment and I could layer everything up and be done. But I want texture and I want a lot of stuff going on. So I'm grabbing, this is my Giving Thanks collage. Now, for those of you that don't know what a collage, is it okay if I go through this real quick to explain?
Absolutely. I'm just over here stamping green.
All right. Well, collage basically means the idea comes from, if you remember it, like, I don't know, Michael's and I don't know, Kmart, places like that, that carried frames. And you would get like those
Mhm.
family collage frames that had like all those different blocks, and you could stack pictures side by side of your family and stuff up on top of each other and everything. So that's why we call this collage, because you're going to be using images and sentiments and like definitions in all different fonts and sizes. And we're going to be stacking them up on top of each other, layering them. We'll be putting them side by side. We'll be turning things and just creating these beautiful collages or like these arrangements of sentiments it'd be one thing if I just, put a stamp on here that said, harvest season of thanks. Okay. That tells you exactly what what this card is about. But I can take it even further and I can put things like, I'm grateful or gratitude is the right attitude or gobble gobble. I'm so stuffed. They're super, super cute. Oh, how lucky we are that we're all together now. You can really expand what it is you want to say or deepen your message. And the great thing is that although we have a lot of different fonts and sizes on these collage stamp sets, um, between the sets, we have kind of universal sizing in place on them. So they're very, very easy to mix and match even between the sets, which is really, really nice. Okay, so I'm going to put this down right here. And I'm actually going to, I love to stamp with multiple colors on my stamps. So I'm going to actually stamp this with coffee bean, and then I'm going to add in some raven um, to just kind of really make it pop. So I'm going to stamp this a couple of times. This is a thick font. So, the thicker or fatter or wider or whatever it is, the image that you're stamping, um, you may have to stamp it more than once in that case because you have more space to cover. So I've inked it up, or more surface area. So I've inked it up again, and I'm going to take my raven and I'm going to stamp that at the bottom of that. So I've actually got two colors going in. And look how pretty. It just kind of shadows that. I don't know if you can see that on the camera very well, but it's really, really pretty. It just gets a little bit darker. I'm going to do a little bit more so you guys can see it better on camera. There you go. So there's harvest. And then I'm going to stack underneath that with another sentiment. Now here's something I want to point out too. Notice this is really dark on the top of my extreme clean. You can just block that to clean off that excess ink. So from here, I'm going to grab another stamp set or another stamp that says Season of Thanks. It's right here. And I'm going to do this one on here as well with my stamping platform, just because I really want this to be really, really rich. And if I think I might want to stamp it more than once, then I will do it in my stamping platform. I think that's straight. So this one I'm going to do in Scarlet Rose. Let me make sure. Yeah, the Scarlet Rose. Where's my ink? There it is. And I don't know if you can tell, but I always put my lid back on my ink when I'm not using it, so I don't ink in or ink up in the wrong ink pad, because I have done that before. So I've only got one open and working at a time.
And and Angie, you can laugh because while we were working on this, she even reminded me of that because someone did that.
Who did that? Did someone do that that you know
Well, I'm not
of?
sure. I'm just
I
not
was
sure
not
about
calling you out when I said that.
But I will tell you, I am that type of a crafter. That sample is in my store and it is being shown. I will tell you, it is being shown.
And you know
I am
what?
not ashamed of it, but I did
You
immediately
shouldn't
go, "Oh
be.
my goodness."
But you know what? I'll bet you nobody would even know that it wasn't how you wanted it to be.
No, but I think as crafters, we are all our own worst critics, but it does really get you like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe
How did
I
I
did
do
that."
that? Okay, so from here, I'm going to kind of play a little bit. I'm going to kind of fill in some of the areas in here with some more flowers. One of my favorite little flowers to do this with in this set is right here. I think it's so, so pretty. So that's going to go on my block, and I'm going to grab a few different colors to do this with. Not that one. Well, actually that is. I'm going to actually do this in a bunch of colors. Um, let's see, what's over here? Okay. So I'm just going to kind of play and fill some in. I'm going to start, I'm going to have two colors open. I can't get all this on my screen. So I am going to have two colors open here, which I just said I wouldn't do, but I am going to do it only because I'm going to ink first into the pink, which is, I think it's, what is this one called? Soft Kisses? Yes, Soft Kisses. And I think that's going to be too bright. So I'm going to get just like a little bit of an angle on that red, just a tiny little bit. And I'm going to pop this in here. Just like so. And so you can see that little bit of color in there. And I love playing with color like this. I am going to wipe this in between because I'm going to go back into my Soft Kisses and I want to make sure I don't have any red in there. So back into Soft Kisses and just a little bit with that red, with the scarlet. And I'm going to come right up here. And see how pretty that looks when you get multiple colors on it at a time? So pretty. And just get a little bit of that red, not too much. And let's put one over here. All right. I'm going to do one more, but just a tiny little bit, and just put it right here. All right. Now, I don't want to do too much of one color combination, so I'm going to put that away. And then my next color combination is going to be the dandelion and in your face orange. So we go into the dandelion, and here I am just going to do a little bit of yellow. Just a tiny little bit.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes a little, like, I feel like it just stamps better when you make those noises. But you
And
just
so,
confirmed that it does, so
oh, it
I will
absolutely
continue.
does. Okay, so we just fill in with a little bit there. All right, tiny little bit. Don't overdo it. Here's what I'll tell you too. If you're sitting here going, where should I put it? Where should I put it? Right? If you're not sure, no, not there, no, not there, no, not there, that's when you go, all right, I must have enough. All right. If you can't figure out where it goes, you've got enough. So remember when I put that little bit of brown in my yellow flowers? I'm going to do the same thing with another flower, and I'm going to use the dandelion and the iced tea. And I'm going to do it with this flower here because these are kind of small and it's something I don't have to color. Right now I don't want to stamp anything that I've got to color. Coloring is done. Okay, so I'm going to
Phew.
go, let me move the yellow over here so I do this in the right order. So I'm going to go first into the yellow and then a little bit into the iced tea. And I'm literally just going to put like here, just tiny little bits. Okay. Um, Actually, let me do, I'm going to put one right here. There you go. Just adds another little color in there. There you go. Tiny little bit. And it just kind of fills in. And I think that's all we really need. But see how it starts to kind of shape up and look a little more like a garden, which I think is just really pretty, like a actual wildflower garden. It also kind of completes that frame there too. Now I am going to add a little more of a green, and I'm going to use this stamp right here, these little leaves. And with that one, I'm going to use olive branch, my favorite green. So here's olive branch. Let's see. I'm just going to pop that right there. Little bit of green in these areas. All right, it just kind of gives a little balance of color. Okay, now I'm going to grab that pink, and I think I'm done with this one for now. So I'm going to go ahead and put my Timeless Meadow, cover that up and set that aside. The next one I'm going to grab, everybody's probably been waiting for this one because this is really, really fun. And that is going to be the Texturize It. My favorite one to play with. So one of my favorites here is this one. It looks almost like gravel. I think it's like a totally, totally cool, rockin' cool stamp. So this one, this one I've got Soft Kisses, okay? And I'm just gonna kind of go like this. All right, and we put texture in, just like that. That's all it is. It's just texture. Go right over some of the things that you've done already. All right, and that's it. How about, let me get, this one, Coffee Bean. Now I am going to grab a scrap piece of paper here, and I'm going to grab this one here that looks almost like, I don't know, just the lines there. Oops. Now if you notice, when I go right into Coffee Bean and I ink once, it's really dark, but if I ink again, it's really light. That's a second generation. Okay, so that's what I want. I'm going to ink it once onto my paper, and then I'm going to go right over my card with the second generation. Okay, and then right over it, right over the top of those flowers. Okay, it puts texture right on your flowers, which is really, really cool. I'm going to do a little bit here. There we go. All right, and then from here, I think these words are really fun. I don't know what it says. No idea. But I'm going to use some of that. It's in like French or something. I don't know. But I'm going to do that. I'm going to go right into the yellow. There you go. There you go. Just a couple. I don't want too much. All right, so I've got some beautiful texture on here, which I think is just a ton of fun. I'm going to go back to my stamps. Now, all right, this one goes on our Kling and Store. Have you guys seen our Kling and Store? It's totally cool. So Kling and Store, the stamps go right on there. They don't come off. And then they go right into their little pouches. I haven't gotten all of our stuff into there yet. I'm still working through it. I don't have as much time for, um, you know, um, organizing. Yes, thank you. So, oh, which direction is this? Okay. I want this sentiment to curve right around here, and I'm not sure. I think it goes this way. I'm going to line this up just like so, and I'm going to curve my stamp ever so slightly. Now, normally I would do this like I'd be standing up over the top of it, looking down at it, but I can't do that. So let me kind of angle this. This is what's fun about having these, you know, these long skinny stamps, is that I can bend them to my will. Okay. And now that one is going to go into Coffee Bean. And I'm going to do a test to make sure that I don't have it upside down, because I may very well have it upside down. There you go. Gratitude is the right attitude. All right. So that, just with my black, it's going to go right here. Just hold it there for a moment. Let that ink soak in, and then up. Gratitude is the right attitude. I can't speak anymore.
That's all right. Well, it is late for you, so.
It's all right. Are you saying that because of how old I am?
No, I'm saying it because we had to find a time that worked for both of us for my store to be somewhat closed, and you know, I.
Funny. Okay, so let's see. What else can I put in here? There's more stuff that I want to do. So let's see. Oh, I've got this little pilgrim hat that I think is just darling. So I'm going to do that in two colors again because I can't work with just one color. So I'm going to start with iced tea. I love shading and shadowing. So first with iced tea, and then I'm going to come in and just kind of go on those edges in coffee bean. I'm going to test it over here and see how I did. And look how cute that is. Okay, so first into iced tea and then into coffee bean. Get some more over here. And I'm going to put that right there and let that soak in. Look how cute. Darling. I love all these little thingamajigs. Now we have this really cute little leafy thing here, tiny little leaf. This is all, everything I'm doing right now is from the Giving Thanks. And so we have this little leaf stamp in here, and I'm going to grab the olive and I'm going to ink it once and stamp it here off to the side. Just get a little bit of color, a little bit of green over there. We have green over here on this side. I've got green at the bottom. Didn't have a whole lot of green over there. And now I'm going to put some green up at the top. So again, I'm stacking these images and kind of stacking up my colors, balancing my colors around. All right. Are you all done with yours? Your
No,
stamping and stuff?
I'm still adding snowflakes. It
All
needs a
right.
good amount of snowflakes.
Okay, so my last little thing I want to do. So I'm going to put the Giving Thanks away, I think. And now I'm going to move over to the Postage. And this one is the All Occasions Postage. And again, I'm just going to work with my stamping block. I do find that it, it goes a little bit faster when I'm just working with my stamping block rather than worrying about everything being lined up so absolutely perfectly. So I'm going to do second generation again. So here's the first one. You can see how dark it is. All right, so here and then immediately to the second one, you can see how light it is. So here's the first one and then right here. Okay, it just pops into the background there, which I think is really fun. Gets people looking really close. What does that say? What did you put there? What'd you do?
I think that's
All
what's
right.
so intriguing about like looking at the cards, because I think no matter where you look, you see something different each time, even though the card is exactly the same right in front of you.
Yep. Yeah, because there's so many layers to it. And look at, so this one's the first generation. I went right over those flowers. Don't be afraid to just dive in and stamp right over this stuff. Let's see, what do I have over here? Bum, bum, bum. I think I'm going to do this one. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I'm going to go to, let me look over here. This is where I have right in here. So this is part of the yeah, the Texturize It. Sorry, I'm looking at what I'm stamping. I'm just going to put one right there. And then I'm going to grab, I think these are really cool. We have these little textures in here that are like you can't, like what are they? I don't even know what they are. It almost looks like Morse code, like this one here. And
That
this one
is my
has,
most favorite piece out of the whole
isn't that
set.
cool? So I'm going to grab that And I'm sticking with the brown, and I'm just going to kind of maybe put it here and just add these little textures. I'm going to go right over here. So you're just adding this stuff. It's just kind of fun.
When I did my card, I found that they just worked so well with like the silhouette of the stems. So I did mine up the lines of the stems, and it just accented it so well. I love them.
Yeah, and I would say don't be afraid to put things down on here either. Just have fun with it and don't worry about whether or not it's perfect or if it's right or if it's stamped perfectly, because it doesn't matter if it's stamped perfectly. It doesn't even matter if it's sideways or even upside down. People can, you know, you want them to really take a close look at this stuff and just kind of go, and what does that say there? What is that over there? I just think it's fun. So this one says first class mail. So you can't really read it, but it's got that beautiful texture. And I just think it's really gorgeous. I love how these things look. I just think they're so pretty. So I'm trying to think. I kind of want to use, I want to use this number one here. These numbers. Because I think they're really neat. And then I think I'm actually going to go back to my coffee bean. And I think I'm just going to put these numbers in like right here. There you go. So you don't really even see a lot of it. But all of a sudden you look at it and someone's going to go, what is that right there? Are those numbers? I didn't even see those. I just think they're cool. Okay. I think that is pretty good. I like how it looks. I have no idea if it's the same as the first one I did.
I will
But
say, without having your sample, I'm going to bring yours back in. That is pretty darn close.
cool.
Pretty close.
Okay,
I'm
so
very impressed.
okay. So from here, it's basic layering. Are you ready to put yours together?
I am.
All right. How's everybody doing out there with yours? Brenda's saying, is anyone watching besides me? I will tell you guys this. We're actually streaming to 3 different locations. We're streaming to Cobblestone Creek's Facebook page. We're streaming to the LDRS Creative Facebook page, as well as the LDRS Creative YouTube channel. And I would encourage all of you to go to the Cobblestone Creek website to get your kits, to get, any of your LDRS products. She's got ink, she's got everything there. And if there is something, is it okay if I say if there's something that's, sold out and
Absolutely,
you get
because
it
I
pretty
will
quickly?
say there's a reorder in the works. So if you're looking for something, there's already an order coming over to Angie very soon.
Yeah, and we ship we'll get things out very, very quickly to Cobblestone so that you guys get your orders very quickly too. And I would encourage you too, when you get your giving thanks collage, when you get your um uh oh my goodness, I've lost the name of the winter one right now.
Baby, it's cold outside.
Thank you. When you get when you, when you get those, um mix them up on your cards too. I don't want you guys to think that you can only use one stamp set on a card. Mix them up. You just saw me mixing a whole bunch of things up, and you're watching Leslie mix them up too. So I'm going ahead and I'm putting foam on the back of my image. Now you can see here, I'm going to look up in the screen here so I get this centered. Now we've designed the standard arches to work beautifully with the hand torn. So they are sized so that they layer up beautifully. I'm going to go ahead and put the brown. This is the largest of the hand torn arch dies, cut in a brown. And that is going to fit pretty snug. I'm going to lay this, excuse me, backwards just so you can see how snug it is. It's pretty snug on the front of your A2 card, okay? Let me make sure I have that. Always make sure you've got your card facing the right orientation there. Okay. And then, so the brown goes flat onto the card base. And now I'm going to put more foam because I love dimension. Let me get this out of the way. I'm starting to lose my voice, I think. But now I'm going to put more foam on the back of the red layer. Now, if you don't want to do foam on the back of yours, if you want to mail them flat, that's completely up to you.
I say pop up all the things. 100%.
Well, you know what? There's a lot of wonderful texture and like I call it visual dimension in what we've colored and stamped. And then when you pop it up, pop things up on foam, it just really kind of heightens all of that dimension. It just makes everything really pop. It's just so pretty. Okay, there we go. And so the top part of this card is flat. You don't need gems. You don't need anything to go on here. I just think they're so fun.
You don't. And but you and I did talk when we were talking about my card and how pretty it would look if you were to add just one or two little
Mm.
sprigs with the heat embossing. How stunning to
Oh,
have like
yeah.
maybe some platinum or silver embossing powder as one little accent sprig. I think that would be gorgeous.
Oh, I think so too. I think too with yours, because yours is wintry, you know, you've got that glitter paper in the background. You could probably even put some like little clear, a few of those little like clear dots, clear gems or whatever on yours,
Oh, for
just
sure.
to make it sparkle. Because, you know, it's wintry, it's snow, and you know, yours would be more sparkly, whereas mine, I don't think, I don't think the fall harvest lends itself to the sparkly stuff.
Yeah,
So pretty.
yeah, no, probably not. I envision mine having more of like that frosted look, which is
Hmm.
kind of why I kept thinking, but then I went, no, we're good. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, no, I think it looks gorgeous. I really do. I think it's so,
I
so
will say
pretty.
that's about the time when I was working on my card that I did it in the wrong color. So that was the other deciding factor.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch us back to front,
Okay.
if I can figure out how. Hold on, Ellen. Okay, why don't you bring me back to the front? And then, there we go. I did it.
There. Woo,
I
woo.
did
And we're both still in one piece.
it. We are. Well, that was so much fun. You want to hold your card
Yes. It was.
up?
Oops, wrong
There we
side.
go. I know, it's really weird, isn't it, when everything's opposite? But they look
Yes.
so, so pretty. So it's basically same products, two different ways. They're just, I mean, it really is the most versatile set. I just think they're so pretty.
It is. And I mean, I want to say this came out in the middle of summer. So you envisioned this product
Mhm.
and we didn't even do that theme. So how cool is that
Right.
to have a product that was envisioned in July? Well, for
Yeah.
me, I saw it in July. For you, much earlier, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, we do work a little ahead, but you know, I love to have products that I mean, of course, we're going to have certain products that are like, you know, this is Christmas or this is birthday. but I really love to have products that can be used year after year, throughout the year, and things that can be mixed and matched. So when we're designing, we're thinking not just about what we're doing now, but we're thinking about what we've done in the past, the types of products, in the collection that, that many of you may already have. So we're thinking about those because we want to make sure that you guys, we don't want the products, we don't want stamp sets to be used one time. We want you to pull that out, mix it in with the current stuff, and then even as we're planning in the future, we're thinking about all of that as well because we want everything to be, like I said, like this compendium of sets that you can mix and match and have a lot of fun with. So when we're growing like what we would call a product line, like the stack and collage stuff, when we're growing that and we're adding to it, it's not just, use this one now and then use this one and then use this one. It's take a look at your collection and see what you can do with it. And, something that you bought maybe, you know, last quarter or last collection, it suddenly becomes new again because you can use it with other things and just kind of expand it. So that's
I
how we
couldn't
do
have said it better myself.
it.
Well, and I have to say, when this, and my mind is honestly blank now the second I started to say it, when this set came out, we actually had one in the previous collection that we carried
Hmm.
from you that
Hmm.
just, we
Yeah.
could not keep it in stock. And the second the new one came out, they were like, finally, an addition to what we
Yeah.
already have.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's timeless. I think the first one was Timeless Wildflowers, and this one is Timeless
Yes,
Meadow. Yeah.
yes.
And they're different.
But
They're both different florals, but they have the same similar, the feel, the look and feel, that kind of distressed look. And again, they're all sized so they can be mixed and matched. So you can actually, it's not just one set. Now you've got two, but it's like having one bigger set that you can do a lot more with.
exactly,
All right?
exactly, which is always amazing to have more.
Yes. So I'm seeing we still have a lot of people. Are there any questions that you guys want us to answer? Anything, anything. We still have
Oh,
quite a few people out here.
so there's someone that said that the snowflakes sparkle the snowflakes. So that would have been super fun as
Mhm.
well to have those done. So love that. Gonna have to go back and add two.
Yep. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. So, all righty. Well,
Well, thank you, Angie. This has
well,
been so much
thank you
fun.
for having me. This was fun. So we are definitely going to plan another one, and it's not going to be too far off because we are getting that new collection,
Yes.
into Cobblestone pretty soon. So keep your eye out for that. Okay. All righty. Well, I think that's
All
it.
right. All right. Well, I
All right.
appreciate it. It was so fun to craft with you tonight. Take
You
care.
too. Thank
Thanks for
you,
everyone for
everybody.
joining us.
Yes, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening and a fantastic rest of your weekend. And we, meaning you and me, Leslie, we will see
Yes.
you hopefully here again in the not too distant future. Have a good night, everybody.